Alright, time to check out the second floor. This center staircase goes all the way up to the third floor, and it would have been completely opened into the house when it was originally built, but we think when it was converted to a two-family, it was closed in. So we're hoping to open up at least a bit of it again. So the first room you come to is this little landing area, which is connected to the two bedrooms and the living area, like the entryway is downstairs. And here's the front bedroom, which is connected to the back bedroom. You'll notice the floor plan is very similar on every single floor. We've got the shop vac in here because that front bedroom is where the water was leaking down into. And the generator, because we have no power on the second floor. I absolutely love these built-in cupboards in the pantry. They need a little work so they can open and close easily again, but I do plan on keeping them in here. If we move over through the pantry, you come into the living area. There's two living areas, although this next room we'll look at could be a bedroom as well. This is the front room. I have some progress videos coming soon of working on that space. Then here's the kitchen that we cleaned out last weekend. And notice I got a little bit more of the wallpaper off since I posted that video. And then through the kitchen is the second story bathroom. It's got a clawfoot tub and it carries through to this room back here, which I'm going to turn into the laundry room for the second floor, I think. And then there's a cedar closet all the way in the back here. On the other side of the kitchen, you come out onto this landing area. These stairs lead back to the front door, and you come across here into this little, what will be, storage. And that just leaves us with the third floor, so come back for part 3 of the house tour, where I'll walk you through all of the rooms up here. Welcome back to the house tour. In this video, we'll go through the third floor. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know this is my absolute favorite floor. It has the most character, but it's also in the worst shape. It was a huge clean out project and will be an even bigger construction project. So there's 4 bedrooms on this floor and then this little landing area in the middle. These back 2 bedrooms are connected by a Jack and Jill closet, which you can see right here. This floor is shorter than the other ones because behind that Jack and Jill closet is a large attic space. Then this is one of the front bedrooms. This is where we have water actively leaking when it rains. And then on this side is another bedroom that I actually still have not cleaned out yet, but there's really not too much to do, just that plastic that's in the middle there and the wallpaper hanging off of the walls. And that concludes the house tour. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see or see again. I'm happy to share it. Over the weekend, we did a little bit more work in this front bedroom on the first floor. This is the room that we pulled the drop ceiling out of first, so we had been letting it dry out before moving on to any other projects. But now that we have the water leak contained on the 3rd floor and there's no active water leak into this room, I felt comfortable pulling up the flooring to try to reveal the hardwood. But I discovered that there is another layer of flooring on top of the hardwood in this room. So this video update did not end up being as satisfying as I had hoped, but there's that other layer that's just this linoleum tile floor. When my dad showed up, we started taking down the framing for the drop ceiling. And we know we're going to have quite a bit more of this drop ceiling framing to take to the dump. So we just took all the pieces out and started a big pile in the garage that we'll take over in one trip. Surprise! I did more in this front bedroom over the weekend. I decided Sunday was the day, the wood paneling and the closet were coming down. I started by taking off this little lip that was left from the dropped ceiling, and then moved to pulling off the panels that weren't next to the windows. You'll see I took off the framing around each of the windows. This was added on after the wood paneling, but I also didn't damage much of it, so I could reuse it again if I really wanted to. These were some of the harder sections because they were stuck behind those windowsills, but I figured it out. Then it was time to take down the closet. Apparently I didn't take a before picture of when the ceiling was out and the closet was up, but you can see there's a gap between the closet and ceiling because this was added after that dropped ceiling. I didn't really have a plan of attack going into this. I've never had to take down any sort of structure before. I just started pulling at pieces of drywall and then got to pulling off the framing bit by bit. And don't worry, I saved all the pieces of wood and then cleaned up my mess, and that was it for this room for the weekend. Such a big difference. It's opened up so much without that closet. This weekend, Dad and I tackled the dropped ceiling in this front portion of the living room. We were worried it was going to take forever just based on our experience in the bedrooms, but it ended up being a lot easier than we'd planned because the ceiling tiles themselves were actually insulated. So rather than having to take down the ceiling tiles and then the insulation above it, they each came down just individually piece by piece. So a project we expected to take us all morning took us only about 20 or 25 minutes. And after this weekend, I would say Dad and I are experts at taking down dropped ceilings. In the middle of the ceiling in this room, we found a really cool medallion. It's similar to the ones that are upstairs on the 2nd story. And here's the after. It's opened up so much more, and I kind of dig that blue ceiling. With the dropped ceiling taken out of the living room, it was time to get started on pulling down the wood paneling, which I was so looking forward to. I couldn't start on this before because the framing for the dropped ceiling was nailed through the wood paneling. So I started by taking off that last little bit of the frame before pulling down the panels. And then realized I forgot to take off the trim, so I did that and then pulled down the rest of the panels on this wall. And then the wood paneling was even behind this little column that they put up when they took down the wall that separated the living room, but that pried up pretty easily. And I couldn't wait any longer. I opened up this doorway that we found in the entryway. Now this side of the room gave me quite a bit of trouble. Even though I knew now all of the things that needed to come off before I could pull up the wood paneling, it still didn't seem to help me very much. I took off the trim, I took off the framing, I loosened up the pieces of paneling before pulling at them, and there still always seemed to be something. But in behind this panel, we found a cool little built-in, and that red framing around it is just from where a cabinet or something was glued on there before. Taking down the paneling was not an easy job by any means, but I actually kind of enjoyed it once I got into a little rhythm and figured out what the heck I was doing. Somebody painted this blue directly onto the wallpaper beneath it, but I found a piece that was peeling, so of course I had to pull back as much as I could to see what that wallpaper looked like underneath. And it was so pretty. I'll definitely save a little bit of it for my wallpaper collection that I'm turning into some form of art. And here's what the room looked like after the weekend. Definitely making a lot of progress.